to participate via WebEx platform. When we take public comments, we will begin by taking public comments from those individuals attending the meeting at the Sacramento location. I will then ask the moderator to open up the lines for the public comment. You will be allotted up to 5 minutes for public comment. I would like to take note that CBA member Carrie Ann Farrell Hines, I didn't want to mess her name up, will be participating via WebEx. There will be no members of the public at her location. I will now turn over to Ms. Reed to take attendance for a quorum.
Nancy Corrigan. Nancy Corrigan, present. Carrie Ann Farrell Hines.
Present.
Tony Lynn.
Here.
Katrina Salazar.
Present.
Teresa Thompson.
Present.
And Evangeline Ward.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I will now read the mission statement. The CBA's mission is to protect consumers by ensuring only qualified licensees practice public accountancy in accordance with established professional standards. This mission is derived from the statutory requirement that protection of the public shall be the highest priority for California Board of Accountancy in exercising its licensing, regulatory, and disciplinary functions whenever the protection of the public is inconsistent with other interests sought to be promoted. The protection of the public shall be paramount. Okay, so now we'll go to our agenda. Item number 1, public comments for items not on the agenda. Are there any comments here in this room? Then we have to open up there. I'll now turn it to the moderator to ask for any public comments, please.
Certainly. If anyone would like to make a comment that is not on the agenda, you may look for the hand icon, typically at the bottom of your WebEx screen, and you may raise your hand, click that to raise your hand. If you would like to use the WebEx Q&A feature, one moment while I enable that. And once you see that, you will be able to, my apologies, click the question mark icon, type the word comment, and click send. And our call-in user may press *3 to raise their hand. Are there any comments for items not on the agenda? I do not see any requests for comment. Shall I close that feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Agenda item 2, approve minutes of the November 16, 2023 Enforcement Program Oversight Committee meeting. Can I have a motion from a member, please? I can't see, Ms. Kerrigan.
Yes, I move to adopt the minutes of the November 16th Enforcement Program Oversight Committee meeting.
Thank you. And I have a second.
Yes, I'd like to second that.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Any public comment? Any member comment? Okay, we will call for a vote. Ms. Reed, please.
Nancy Corrigan? Yes. Carrie Ann Farrell Hines?
Abstain.
Tony Lynn?
Yes.
Katrina Salazar?
Yes.
Teresa Thompson?
Abstain.
And Evangeline Ward?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Agenda item number 3, overview of the California Board of Accountancy Probation Monitoring Program. I will now turn it over to Ms. Carrie O'Connor, Chief Enforcement Division.
Good morning. I'm Carrie O'Connor, and I'm the Chief of the Enforcement Division. The purpose of this item is to provide members with an overview of the CBA's probation monitoring program. The probation monitoring program begins with a disciplinary order that is adopted by the CBA, which includes a list of terms and conditions that the licensee must abide by to successfully complete probation and have their license restored. The terms and probations of probation typically consist of two parts: standard terms and conditions and optional terms and conditions. The standard terms are listed in Attachment 1, and the optional conditions are listed on Attachment 2. The optional conditions are included when as appropriate based on the type and severity of the violations that led to the disciplinary action. Upon receipt of the CBA disciplinary order, the probation monitor will review the terms and conditions of probation and create an internal use tracking sheet that lists the due dates associated with the various terms and conditions. Throughout a licensee's probationary term, the probation monitor will review this tracking sheet at least monthly to ensure that the probationer is on track to meet all of the terms and conditions. The probation monitor will also assign a low, medium, or high-risk rating to each licensee based on factors such as the type of violation that led to the discipline, the length of time that the violation occurred, and potential for future consumer harm or violation of probation. After documenting this information, the probation monitor will send the licensee an introductory letter which outlines the terms of probation and the specific due dates associated with any reporting requirements. Each probationer is required to attend a probation orientation during which the probation monitor and the licensee discuss each term and condition to ensure that the licensee has a complete understanding of the requirements that must be met to successfully complete probation. These orientation meetings are conducted virtually and are scheduled within 30 days of the effective date of the disciplinary order. As a standard term of probation, all licensees are required to submit quarterly reports within 10 days of the close of each quarter. The report requires that the licensee confirm their current work situation, if they've been living and practicing outside of California, and confirm compliance with the probation terms and note any continuing education courses that they may have completed. Provided that the licensee fully complies with the terms and conditions of probation, the probation concludes on the date outlined in the disciplinary order and the license is restored. If the licensee fails to comply with the terms, the probation monitor will contact the licensee and seek correction of the violation. If the licensee fails to correct the violation, the probation monitor may initiate action with the AG's office to file a petition to revoke probation. Once that petition to revoke probation is filed, it follows the same process as any other disciplinary matter by eventually coming before the board for adoption of a default decision, proposed decision, or stipulated settlement. This concludes my overview of the program, and I'd be happy to turn it over to Chair Ward, and I would also be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from our board members? Are there any questions from any members or people participating in the public?
This is the moderator. We've opened up the WebEx Q&A feature. If you'd like to make a comment, you can raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon. And our call-in users may press *3 to raise their hand. Are there any comments? I do not see any requests for comment. Shall I close that feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move to agenda item 4, discussion regarding modifying the tolling term and the addition of a license surrender term to the disciplinary guidelines and model orders. And we will go back to Ms. Carrie O'Connor.
Thank you. The purpose of this agenda item is to provide members with an opportunity to update the CBA disciplinary guidelines and model orders, which I'll refer to as guidelines throughout my presentation, to modify the tolling term and condition of probation and add a license surrender option as a standard term of probation. Presently, tolling is a standard term and condition of probation. If a probationer leaves California to reside or practice outside of California, the probationer must notify the CBA of their departure and return dates, and that time frame outside of California does not apply to the reduction of the probationary period or suspension. The purpose of the tolling term and condition was to allow the CBA representatives to physically inspect a licensee's work and records in person at their place of business during the probation term. Now that the practice of public accountancy has evolved into the digital age, probation monitoring has successfully implemented virtual practices that allow the CBA to effectively monitor a licensee's work and records through virtual means. If a licensee is out of state, the CBA is still able to effectively and efficiently monitor and access records from the licensee. The CBA also may wish to consider modifying the language of the tolling term to allow for certain circumstances to not be considered tolling, such as the probationer notifies the CBA that they have permanently relocated out of state, and the licensee indicates that they have no intention of practicing in or returning to California, then the probation can expire without tolling. So the proposed draft language has been provided in attachment 1 in underlined text. The second change to the guidelines being brought for CBA consideration is the addition of a standard term and condition that would allow a licensee to surrender their license while on probation. From time to time, the probation unit has received requests from licensees to surrender their license during the probation term. Usually the request is being made because the licensee has ceased practice and does not wish to be subject to the terms and conditions of probation, such as maintaining an active status license. The draft language provided in attachment 2 would provide the CBA or its designee the option to accept the surrender of a license during the probationary period. The surrender would become part of the licensee's disciplinary record, and if the licensee should seek to reinstate the license, the reinstatement would be treated as a petition for reinstatement of a revoked license. It is requested that the CBA approve the proposed changes to the definition of tolling to make it an optional term of probation, approve the language to add license surrender as a standard term of probation, and include these changes in the next edition of the guidelines. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Chair Ward, and we'd be happy to answer any questions members may have.
Thank you. Does any member wish to make a motion? Okay, I have first.
I would like to make a motion to accept the proposed changes to the tolling probation term, as well as adding a license surrender while on probation as proposed by staff.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
And I will second that motion.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from our members? Yes.
I just have a question, and not to put you on the spot as far as specifics go, but do we have many licensees that are under the tolling provisions presently?
We do. We have 6 licensees on probation right now that have the tolling provision in their probationary terms.
And I guess as a follow-up, would, as far as those members or licensees go, would adopting this now or going forward, would that be retroactive to those or just for future tolling situations?
It would not be retroactive. It would be something we could add to the new disciplinary orders that come up.
Are there any more questions from our board members? I will now open it up for the public comment. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you up there. I'm sorry. Ms. Hines?
Thank you. Just want to be clear on the tolling, the proposed changes to tolling probation term. There doesn't need to be any language added about a time for the licensee to to apply for reactivation of their license if their probation is going to be terminated immediately.
So, Ms. Hines, just so I can understand the question a little bit better, the tolling provision would just allow for if we get that notification per this new language that's offered in your attachment, then the disciplinary order will just conclude at the end of whatever that term is. It's not terminating the probation, it's not stopping the probation, it just would cancel once that 3 years or 4 years or 5 years after the disciplinary took effect would expire. They would come off probation and have their license back in good standing, provided any restrictions on their license would stay in place if that was ordered, but it doesn't terminate their probation.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I think I read it wrong, or I was interpreting it incorrectly, so thank you.
Okay. I will now open it up again for public comment.
This is the moderator. If anyone would like to make a comment on the issue, you may look for the hand icon and click that to raise your hand. And each speaker will have 5 minutes with a 30-second warning. Our calling user may press *3 to raise your hand. Any comments on the issue? I do not see any requests for comments. Shall I close that feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Ms. Reed, can you please take a roll for vote?
Evangeline Ward,
Yes.
Teresa Thompson,
Yes.
Katrina Salazar,
Yes.
Tony Lynn,
Yes.
Carrie Ann Farrell Hines,
Yes.
and Nancy Corrigan.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. And for agenda item 5, it's adjournment. That's it. Okay, thank you.